How's it going, guys? Let's talk about some animations. I spent way too much time on these, but I'm so glad the collection is finished. It's been a while since I've made a collection of animations with concert visuals in mind, which is my favorite use of animation. It all started when I started seeing all of the visuals from Anima's Las Vegas Sphere show. And so I first came up with this animation here as I thought this would look really cool inside of the Sphere. And then that turned into several more animations inspired by Anima, inspired by the visuals that his team makes, and now we're here. Now, I normally do step-by-step tutorials, but this video is more of a breakdown of the entire project where I'm going to be talking about less of the how I did things and more of the why I did things. But don't worry, if you're more into step-by-step tutorials, I have quite a few already recorded that are coming out on YouTube in the next coming days and weeks, so look out for those. Before we get into them, the full step-by-step tutorials of all of these animations are now available on Patreon. It's 8 tutorials and about 2.5 hours of training. Motion graphics requires you to know so many tips and tricks and things, and these tutorials are loaded with those from one to the next. Feel free to check it out, link to the description, and you can get a discount if you subscribe annually. Like I said, it started with this animation. The idea was a camera flying through a field of these animated strings and curves. So I first had to set them up, and then I had to go in and displace them. Now, at a basic level, this animation is just a field of curves, and we're flying a camera through and making it loop. Now, in geometry nodes, you can actually get the nodes to recognize the tubes in the shading so that you can add a wave texture and get this really kind of pulsating, I'm not really sure exactly how to describe it, but this is the look. Of course, I don't want that position to be the same on all of them. You can actually use attributes to randomize the position of that offset so it looks a little bit more natural and less computerized. Now, attention to detail on all these animations is really important. If you added that wave emission to all of the tubes, it just starts to feel really busy. So what I wanted to do is use some randomness to just give a few of the curves that random animation so it just sort of tastefully places it throughout the animation, and then the other tubes just have a darker random colored emission material on them just to give it a little balance and just feel a little bit better. The wave animation is really, really cool, but this is definitely a lesson in make sure you're not using too much of a good thing. Now, the particles that are flying past the camera, they look cool, but they also give this grounding feeling, and it shows that the camera isn't sort of moving up and down, but actually the fact that the particles are staying still, you can kind of see a side-by-side of how the animation feels with and without the particles. Now, either or is totally fine. I preferred it with the particles because it gives this really nice feeling of things flying by the camera and grounds the animation. So it not only serves an aesthetic purpose, but a practical utility. Now, one of the things that the Anima team does really well is creating these beautiful, realistic looking environments, and I wanted to make something that kind of felt similar in that world, and I created this animation here. The animation can be broken up in a few parts. The spirals that go around the planet that's in the middle, and all the particles that fly around it that glimmer in that light. I want to talk about the particles that kind of fly around it because to me that's the coolest part. So it's just these flat planes that rotate around the scene, and when they rotate at the perfect point, they directly reflect the area light, which is pretty bright, and you can use the glare node in the compositing to get that to kind of shine really bright and add these beautiful glimmer moments in the animation. Now, this animation is a really great study of paying attention to the details. They make all the difference. The first point that needed some extra detail was the spirals. I didn't want the red points to just be this solid emissive detail. I added a noise texture within that not only creates extra detail, creates an opportunity for movement, but the fact that those details are really small gives the feeling of a large scale environment within this animation. There's also these randomly placed spheres on those curves. I wanted them to sort of subtly blink randomly. Again, you can use random attributes thrown into the shading, and then once you apply it there, you can randomly place the spheres to have emission or not emission, gives a point of some interesting movement, tells a little bit of the story, and really makes it look nice. Now, my favorite detail are the cracks, but specifically the emission inside of the cracks. I didn't want the cracks to have a uniform, solid, unchanging red glowing material. I wanted it to kind of be broken up a little bit. I felt like it made it feel more natural and more realistic. So I used a simple node setup to use a noise texture that breaks up some of those points, and if you wanted to, you can also animate that. I didn't animate it. I didn't think it was that noticeable, but it definitely made the animation feel more natural. Now, a lot of people's favorite part of this animation was the light. I don't know why it always surprises me, but it's the most simple part of this animation. It's just a simple area light with a kind of a cone pointed directly at the planet. And one thing about that really intense light is it creates this really cool shadow on the other side of the planet. I don't know if it communicates like it's large scale. To me, it reads that way, and I just love that detail. Really simple, one-point lighting. To an extent, this animation is kind of a joke. On Patreon, I named the tutorial 3D Vomit, but it's directly inspired by an animation from Anima. It feels weird, and I wanted to make something that felt weird and strange. And this animation just kind of breaks some rules of 3D. The curves are running into each other. The displacement of the curves is really dramatic. The particles around it just kind of weirdly, uniformly move around. Everything about this animation is almost wrong, which I think is what I love about it. So let's talk about it. The main portion of this animation is created by a sphere that have curves connected to it. So using these set of nodes, you can actually get the curves rather than shooting up, you can actually get them all shooting outward. It's a very clutch thing to remember, but having things point out by the normal is very, very useful, and you're going to encounter it quite a lot if you're going to be using geometry nodes a lot. Using that curve data, you can randomly assign spheres on all the curves, so when they move, the spheres lock onto it. And then the animation is created by taking those curves, displacing them with the color socket of a noise texture, and then using a little bit of the distortion slider really gives it this kind of gross movement, and it's weird. The particles going around it, the way I built that, we're actually going to show you that in just a minute on the particle animation, but it's the same process, but here I just made the texture really small so the curves are just kind of weird. Now, this is an animation I would love to see on a concert stage. It's cool, it's beautiful, it moves great, and I love this one so much. Learning how to make this one also shows you how to take elements of an animation and make them feel kind of organic, kind of natural, but still sci-fi and motion graphics. So I want to talk about all the details in this animation that communicate natural, organic. So let's talk about it. The first thing I had to do was model the cylinder. The model that exists in this animation is a cylinder. So I modeled a cylinder, but to give it that natural feeling, I widened the top to kind of give it this sort of flower bud inspired model. So when it came to how I shaded it, again, inspired by flowers, you see a lot of gradients with flowers. So I made the top of the model kind of gradient from black to white. And that just communicates something that you see quite a lot in nature. The distribution of the objects being random is on purpose. You don't see perfect grids in nature. So having them randomly placed solidifies it feeling natural. Now, the animation itself gives it sort of this wind or breathing vibe, and it's similar to something you'd find in nature, and it just uses a noise texture. That's probably not very surprising, but if you ever want things to feel natural, go with a noise texture. It is one of the best and quickest ways when it comes to textures, when it comes to animation, when it comes to distribution of things, to make things feel random and organic. You can also use the Voronoi texture for other organic things. Now, when it comes to the emissive parts of this animation, there's two parts of it that make it feel natural. One is the distribution of the emissive points. We're using a noise texture at a very small scale, so you get these clusters of animation. And then if you look closely, you can see these little rings that go up. Just like in the first animation, it's a wave texture, and this kind of gives it a kind of like this little bumblebee look. And I absolutely love that detail of this animation. It makes these little glowing parts actually feel alive rather than it just being this stagnant, still glow. These pieces are moving, and I absolutely love that piece. Okay, next is this particle animation. You can actually find it on my YouTube channel right now. You guys absolutely loved this tutorial. I was honestly surprised at the response, so thank you guys for watching and still watching my tutorials. They're my favorite thing in the world. So since you can already watch it, let's just do a simple breakdown of all the steps that's required to make a particle system like this. The first thing you have to do is decide which shape you want the overall particle system to be. This one's going to be a sphere, and so you can take that sphere and convert it into a volume. Now that it's a volume, which means Blender can recognize things can go inside of it, not just on the shell of it, you can actually now distribute particles within that volume. Then you can set their position. Again, using a texture with a color output, you can use that color output to randomly animate those particles around. For the coloring, you can use attributes. Again, this is something we're doing all the time in Geometry Nodes, but using attributes in Geometry Nodes, throwing them into the shading, and now you can actually shade the particles, and it looks amazing. Just like a lot of the animations in this series, it's just a single light with volume that is lighting this entire scene. You'd be surprised how often a single light can make all the difference. Often, we're using an HDRI accompanied by a very bright light, and those two combined, you get just something simple that looks incredible. So sometimes you don't need to overthink all of your lighting. I was really inspired by eyes and eye animations. I was on Pinterest and I made an entire board of just really cool looking eye animations. And I wanted to make one because that would just look so cool on a stage. Now this one, the beginning setup is exactly like the 3D vomit one. You're just instancing curves on a circle, but we're using like 10 times as many curves in this example. So we're using a noise texture to animate them, but we're also using a noise texture to create those really beautiful details in the emission. Once you start to hone in this noise texture and get it to look perfect, it actually starts to look like an abstraction of an eyeball, and it's incredible. So it's relatively well known that you can just take a grid, use a noise texture, and it creates this really cool looking topographic map. Most of them are square or rectangular, but let me show you how to make one with a sphere. So using the spiral node that we used in that planet animation, just get a ton of spirals. Then just getting a set position node, use whatever texture you want. Of course, the noise texture is going to get that topographic map look. Plug that in with the noise texture, and you now have a circular HUD looking topographic map that if you animate the W, it will move. For the shading, I used a wave texture to get all of those kind of lines to go in a circle, crunching it in with a noise texture, and really, really quickly, you can get something that just looks super, super awesome. All right, this last one, the point of it wasn't to make something that is built to look cool, but designed to look cool in terms of like, the geometry nodes is the simplest part. We're taking a circle, we're doing a little bit of sort of distorted wireframing, and then we're using a wave texture to displace it. I wanted to make something that uses lighting and composition to make something that looks beautiful. So the emphasis of this design is on the lighting and a little bit of the shading. First, we create a focal point with a really large, very bright orange light, and we're using volumes to sort of show that cone going straight to the middle. Then to sort of paint or splash in color from other points, we're going to take a blue point light, bring it kind of to the top, and it kind of brings that light in. And then we're also going to get a green light right to the side. And so we're using area lights and point lights in combination to paint in this beautiful color. And then to solidify that center point as a focal point, we're just using a gradient texture with emission on the displacement to really get a beautiful ring, a beautiful composition. It's very simple conceptually, but executing it is a little bit more difficult in getting it right. And playing with color, playing with composition, I went pretty in depth on the concept on Patreon. It's a really great study on just making abstract lighting. Again, not overthinking it, just playing with it and making effective decisions. And that's it. That's the whole collection that I'm incredibly proud of. I love these animations. I spent a long time on them. I wanted to make them right. It's a great collection of animations and there's so much to learn from it. So hopefully you got some ideas on how you can make your own animations with a lot of these tips and tricks. Again, if you want the full step-by-step tutorials of each of these animations, you can get it on Patreon. It's 2.5 hours of training and I'm just very, very proud of the work and you can learn a lot of really cool things on there. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching and I'll see you in the next one.